Project stages can reflect the different stages of a project and can control what actions you can and cannot perform within Dynamics AX. Let's review this functionality. Like mentioned before, project stages determine what types of operations can be performed on a project. So as we're seeing on the screen, these are the 5 default stages that you get out of the box with AX. You get a created, an estimated, a scheduled, in process, and finished. There are also 3 user-defined fields. In general, if you just use the 5 that you see on the screen, the only one that you can actually post actuals or just transactions towards is in processed. So let's just talk about all 5 of these. So created basically is when you initially create a project. It's in a created state and you really can't do anything but some of the planning work. Estimated and scheduled are relatively the same as created. You can't post any transactions toward it, but in the estimated you can forecast and you can budget, etc. Scheduled is the same concept, but during scheduling you probably want to schedule your workers, build a team, but you can also do the forecasting and budgeting as well. In process, anything goes. You can budget, forecast, create a WBS, post any sort of transactions you want, do anything you want. And then finished is when your project is completed. You can set it to a finished stage, and then like we saw earlier, when you go to that all projects list page, you can have it filter out. You won't see any finished projects if you set it to only look at active projects. There are, like I mentioned before, there are 3 user-defined stages, and basically what you can do there is name those accordingly and then define what actions can be taken at those stages. Along with the 5 that you see on the screen too, you can adjust what can actually be done on those, and that's what we'll take a look at here. So we'll demonstrate how you set up project stages, and then we'll create a project and adjust the stage so you can see what the actual action is on a project. Let's jump into the client. All right, so we're going to go in and set up project stages. So general rule of thumb when implementing, I guess, any software is you want the product to reflect how your business operates, and project stages can do that very well. But on the other hand, overthinking the scenario too can cause a problem, because if you have tons of project stages and all that type of stuff, this is where you can get into a dilemma. And a lot of times when the overthinking occurs, the clients that I've worked with just go back to created, in process, and finished. Those are the 3 primary ones that are used. So anyways, with that being said, let's jump in and set up some project stages. So I'm in the project management and accounting module, and we'll go under setup, and then we'll go to project management and accounting parameters. There's a project stage tab in here towards the bottom, and we'll click that. And you can see basically across the top we have the 6 types of projects. We have time and material through a time project, right? And then on the left side we have all the different stages. We have created, estimated, scheduled, in process, finished, and then the 3 user defined. And for each type you can define what stages are applicable. So you can see for time and material projects all stages are applicable. So for each one of these stages too, you can define the rules that are available, and I'll come back and show you that, but I just want to jump into a project. So I'm going to go to all projects, and we'll just look at a time and material project that I have selected here. Up on the project tab, whether you're in the details or on the list page, there's the project stage button, and you can see depending on what you have set in your parameters, those are all the different stages that you'll see. So if I create a new project, yeah, don't care what it's called right now, so we'll just pick anything and then we'll jump in and hit create. So the first thing that I note is that if I go to the project tab and look at the project stage, I'm in created stage. That's because it's grayed out. Also on the right side you can see that it says that you're in a created stage over here as well. If you try and do anything from a transaction perspective, so let's try and post hours to this project, and we'll get posting all the labor entries that you can handle downstream. So I'll just try and go to the lines here, and it says project stage created does not allow recording in this project. So there's only specific stages that can allow you to post transactions, and created is definitely not one of them. If you want to flip the stage, you can pick any one you want. There's no order of operations. It's going to have to be an offline process if you want a specific stage to come next. So you can change this thing to in process, and then once you're in process, then you can start logging actuals if you want to. Notice we're not getting any more errors when we're trying to post a labor entry. So I'm not going to post one, but you can see that it didn't stop me like it did previously. All right, so let's jump back to those parameters. So if I go back to project management and accounting, and then under setup, project management and accounting parameters, and I hop back to project stages, and what I want to have happen is, well, what I could do is with my time and material projects, I want no control over them, like what can and can't happen when a project is created. So what you could do is get rid of all the stages other than in process and finish, and I see this quite often too. So when you create that project, you're automatically in process and there's no restrictions on what it is that you're doing. A majority of the time though, customers like a created status. So basically when you create that project, people cannot enter time towards it on their timesheets, etc. if it's in a created stage. A couple things that you can do with stages is there's rules around them. So whatever stage you have created or selected, so I have the created stage selected at this point, you can hit the project stage rules. And notice that it's asking you, okay, well, what are the rules for a specific project type? So you can, we'll just stick with time and material here, but you could pick one of the other types. We can say in the created stage, you can create beginning balance journals, you can forecast and budget, and you can create quotes. And notice all these ones are grayed out, they're hard coded, so you cannot toggle them on or off. When we get into other stages, that's when these other options become available, and specific project types to make options available as well. But this is where you can toggle on and off what you can and can't do. And if we look at specifically what you can and can't do, ignoring that some of them are grayed out, you can say whether the stage allows beginning balance journals, and beginning balance journals are usually what you do to cut over projects during an implementation. They have no general ledger impact, just sub-ledger impact. So if you want to bring over your project balances without affecting the ledger, you can do so. Forecast and budget, that's pretty self-explanatory. This stage allows you to use that functionality on the project. Create a project quote, yes, you could do that. Estimates, those are geared towards fixed price projects, and most likely the in-process stage. I'd have to take a look here. I'll do this and hit fixed price. So are you allowing estimates? And estimates is a way to recognize revenue in Dynamics AX. So it's can you do that when you're in process? Nope, you can't. Yes, you can. Item tasks, that's basically consumed materials, specifically geared towards item requirements, but I think other item tasks as well. And then there's create journals. Do you allow the creation of journals in this task? And that would be your hours journal, your item journal, your expense journal, etc. Any journals that could be booked towards a project in this stage, do you allow it or not? And then invoice proposals. You can say when we're in process, we don't allow invoice proposals. So that kind of brings us to our user-defined status. So it's the same functionality. You can enable one, and then you can define what rules are available. And you can actually post transactions on these user-defined ones because they allow the toggles for transactional entry. But there's no renaming them at this point. In the previous version, there was a rename button up here. It looks like in the latest version, you actually have to change the names in the back end. So one of the common names that we see, or that I've implemented multiple times, is a on hold stage, where we don't allow anything. So we'd come in here, we'd change the name to on hold, and then we'd toggle everything off. So the project's on hold. And then the rest of them are up to client discretion. You can figure out what you want to do with the different stages, but normally what I suggest is start simple, and if you find yourself getting into a situation where you need just more than created, in process, and finish, then start using the other stages as well.